Here we are in the backyard at the pool. All right, I'm going to show you a little bit of the edge. It might look okay now, but there's a big job that needs to happen because it's been causing a lot of trouble. Check this out. The edge of the pool, the coping is sandstone. And if you look at it, it is crumbling because, well, sandstone crumbles. It flakes and falls apart, and it's, well, it crumbles and then it falls into the pool, and then it pools up into little areas down there towards the drain, down at the bottom of the hot tub. It'll pool up, and if you look at it, it's just layer after layer. And we've put all kinds of treatment on it, stone treatment, spend a lot of money, gallons and gallons of that stuff. So I think what we're gonna do is take it all off. Take it all off and pour concrete right up to the edge. Just right up to the edge. And it's a big job, but hey, it's hot outside. Maybe we can knock out all the, without having to drain it. I don't want to really drain it more than a foot or two. It's important that the plaster isn't exposed to light or dryness for too long. So, all right, let's get to work.
So to get started on demo, I bought a 3-pack of like stone chisels on Amazon for $40. Has like a pointed one and then a flat one and then a really big flat one. And I just had to figure out how to separate them. So I originally got in the pool and knocked my first few loose. But then I realized, hey, I could do this without having to get in the water. So just hammering and chiseling, and you have to like knock out the grout between the pieces of sandstone, and then you just got to get the tip underneath the edge and hopefully pop it loose so that then it then comes out. And then like anything else, you kind of get a hang of it after a while. So yeah, I just started knocking one at a time. And then I realized that it's not just the stone I have to remove, but I also have to remove the mortar that's underneath it, which you'll see coming up in just a second. I was surprised that so many of these flagstones came off so easy. So I ended up having several of these, roughly the same size pieces, about 1.5 inches thick. And so I just stuck a bunch on Facebook Marketplace. I think I sold them for $40, and it took about half hour for someone to respond and buy them for some sort of home project they were doing. The demo is finished. And now it's time to start figuring out how to form up and rebuild the coping. So this is just a walk around view of the whole pool. This area where the artificial turf is, I'm going to leave it. I'm not going to form an outside, like with bender board. I'm just going to pour it in place with like my own cardboard bender board and freestyle the back edge. But first, I have to figure out how to pour over the skimmer the water goes into the skimmer. So I cut a piece of melamine, just put it up there and trace it out, and I will attach it to a 2x4 on the pool side so that the forms will stick to it. And then under that, I will just block it up and have it just sit there so that when the concrete is set up, I can just pull it out. I will also spray some cooking spray on the melamine, and I put some rebar. I didn't show it on the video, but there'll be rebar in the concrete as well so that, it's structural. All right, now it's time to put the screw holes in the concrete so that you can attach the forms to the wall. And those are supposed to be spaced out every 14 inches and about 5 or 6 inches from each end. And yeah, it really doesn't matter how far in you can go, 5, 6, 7, 8 inches in. You'll still have enough wire to wrap around it. So I went and got 1 3/4 inch Tapcon cement screws. My dad drilled the pilot holes, and I'm just putting them in there. So, it doesn't take much strength to, for just holding the forms in. But yeah, the company sent you a bag of concrete nails, but yeah, I've never used concrete nails, and I didn't trust them. So went ahead and bought my own. And the next step is going to be, once these are done, is to get the forms attached to the pool wall. All right, it is now time to install the Stegmeyer pool coping forms. Found these online. It was not easy. But I found a swimming pool dealer, and the box that would do the whole pool plus I have like 8 pieces extra. Was $600, and it comes with the tile cap as well as the anchors that you punch through. It looks like a long piece of wire with a washer on the back, and that's what my son is doing. He's installing those behind me. My dad is in the swimming pool, holding it in the right spot. My wife is kind of pulling back the adhesive. It's like 2-sided tape that you have to pull back and then you put it on. What we found is that if you flex the pieces ahead of time, you end up breaking the 2-sided tape cover. So then you got to pull it off, and it's really tricky to take off. So we decided that if you just remove the entire 2-sided tape cover and then just keep it away from the edge and then have one guy just attach it, that's the best way to go. The trick is, though, making sure you don't pre-touch the tile, because that 2-sided tape is incredibly strong. And once it's on there, we did accidentally stick it on one spot, and I fought it off, but it ended up ripping part of the 2-sided tape. But the good thing is that this form has 2 pieces of 2-sided tape, like an upper and a lower. So one of them is actually good enough, but having 2 on there, you really don't have to worry about if it sticks. If you're worried about sticking, don't, because that stuff stuck incredibly well to a porcelain tile. And I'm sure it sticks really well to fiberglass or any other surface you're using. Oh, it also stuck really well to the 2x4, which covered the skimmer area. Had no problem sticking to that as well. So once you attach the forms, you kind of know how high to do it, because you just go top of the tile to the bottom of the rounded part of your pool finish. And then you put in the 8-foot piece of plastic, which just sits right on top of the tile, and it kind of wedges in between the tile and the styrofoam, which is great, because when you remove it, you see the white tile cap, and it looks really professional. So I thought that was a really good thing. So if you got tile on your pool and you order this Stegmeyer forms, make sure you order them with the tile cap, because you can order them with or without the tile cap. And I just assumed, hey, I think it was the same price too. So I'm like, hey, if I don't need it, at least I have it. So don't quote me on that. Might not be the same price. But anyway, so we're going around, and yeah, once you do that, once all the forms were put in, very smart move. It didn't tell you to do that. I went and took my packaging tape gun, and I just put the tape right across the top edge, because the top edge of the form is very thin. It's probably a 16th of an inch at the top. And if you're running a trowel or a float over the top, you're going to make a mess and break the styrofoam. So I just reinforced it with a piece of packaging tape across the top, and it paid off really well. So once it dried, packaging tape, you just kind of like pull on it and then it just kind of crumble away. It made form removal and the whole process just less messy. So by this point, we were getting into a groove, and we're able to attach. Yeah, we had a nice flow of it. And like anything else, if you do it a second time, you're always better than the first time. So unfortunately, you're watching us do this for the first time. Once we got to the very last piece, we had to cut it to length, and we also had to cut a piece of the sandstone that's around the hot tub. So my dad did that. I handed him the grinder while he's standing in the swimming pool, which is not a recommended practice. Don't use an electric grinder while standing in 4 feet of water. So I sprayed down the forms with water, and then my dad and my son would mix the concrete and bring it over and dump it onto a piece of plywood, and I would shovel it into the forms. My mother, who is also a very skilled woman, she would come behind me and use her float and get it all flat, and she also have an edger to get the preliminary edging in on the back side. You don't have to edge the front because the forms take care of all that. So yeah, we just drag that piece of plywood, and took a few loads to get a good rhythm. My wife jumped in, who's never done concrete before, and my mom's kind of teaching her as we went along. So yeah, important. Not a pro tip, just a health tip. Get some knee pads when you're doing this. You can get them at Harbor Freight, and that will save you a lot of pain and suffering. So, yeah. The trick also is you got to work out how wet your batch should be, and I would err on the side of more wet to less, because you want to avoid, of course, any air pockets in your mud. But what we can also do is, what we did is, I don't know if you see it, we tapped the form on the pool side. You just reach your hand over and just slap it a little bit, get a little vibration going there. And of course, you can use your float as well to tamp it down to try to eliminate any air bubbles, which for the most part we did. And we didn't have any huge pockets, but we had some. But yeah, so wetter is better. I originally took a palm sander and with no sandpaper, and I vibrated the outside of that, and that works, except it will instantly release a lot of water into your pool. So yeah, I did that just the very beginning, and I'm like, well, I'm not doing this again, because too much of the water and concrete was going into the pool, and I did not want to deal with that. So all in all, the pool did not get a whole lot of of concrete in it, although it did get some. And I was able to vacuum it out with my new Ryobi battery packed pool vacuum that I got, which is a great tool. Great tool. So anyway, yes. Weather wasn't too bad, a little warm. So we were in the shade for the most part, and but once the sun hit it, got a little bit warm. It's here in Las Vegas, Nevada. I didn't record the other side of the pool as we poured the concrete, but it was a little bit more difficult because I was just freestyling the back edge against the artificial turf that was already there. It was at a good height, so we just laid down pieces of cardboard as like a backer and just eyeballed kind of the height. And then my mom ran the edger right along the cardboard after I kind of laid down the preliminary height. And overall, it turned out well. You'll see it in the finished product. But yeah, once it's set up, we kind of could gently kind of slide the cardboard out while the concrete was setting up. And yeah, we're a little bit hesitant, a little nervous on if it would even work or if it would look really bad. So we went ahead and went with it, and we're glad it paid off. So I did video the final pour, which is coming up, the last batch that we did for the day. Maybe second to last. It was really close. my dad is bringing over the final batch or close to it. And this is the Home Depot rental cement mixer. It's got 2 wheels. It's the smallest one they have. It does 2 60-pound bags pretty easily of ready mix. And yeah, it worked fantastic. Totally worth the $60 to rent for one day. And yep. Yeah, we just finished it off there. And yeah, notice I kind of just left the wet stuff. I got like a wet batch for the front edge. And yeah, that's just the final touches before we have to take the forms off, which we did the next day. And it was fine. Some people say you need to put tape on the inside of the forms. It's unnecessary. It comes right, the styrofoam comes right off the concrete when you take the forms off. So it was really easy. The hardest part, of course, is the adhesive that sticks so well to your tile. But yeah, here it is. We went with a pretty thick brushing or a broom finish because we didn't want to make it too slick for any kids running around. We don't want them to trip, fall, or slip and fall and hit their heads on the pool. So there it is. I'm going to zoom in on the edge. You'll notice there were some spots where I had to mix up some mortar or actually I just sifted out the rocks from the ready mix, mixed it up and patched in some of the spots where there were some holes. Now it still needs some more work, which I'm going to do soon. And then we're going to paint it the same color as the deck. So will I film that on the project? I don't know. This is my first serious YouTube video. So I do hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, and there it is. Notice the white tile stripe across the bottom there. It turned out really nice having that on there. So made it look very professional. So yeah, let's go to a couple before and after pictures here.